Hey everyone, how's it going? This is rexfurry here, and welcome back to another basic introduction video. This time we're going to be going over FL Studio, otherwise known as Fruity Loop Studio. And for those of you guys who aren't familiar, you guys are just watching this video just because, so I'm sure most of you guys aren't, but, just in case that is the case, basically this is a music creation program, and I'm basically going to be doing a basic introduction on this program today, kind of showing you guys the, kind of the ropes of how to use this program, and the basic layout and how it all comes together, so you guys can use it for, well, I guess, whatever the heck you want to use it for, in terms of music creation. So, in any case, let's go ahead and get this started off. Before, though, I actually do that, I want to go ahead and let you guys know that I am in no way a professional with this program. I do use it for personal use, though, in some small projects, and I do know how to get around the program, pretty well, so I can kind of do whatever it is I want to do and stuff like that, but I'm not a professional at this program, so I won't be showing you guys every single thing like I do in some of the other basic introduction videos for those of you guys who haven't seen them, but for the most part, I will be going over just enough so you guys will be able to kind of create your own stuff, and then eventually go out and learn more if you so desire. So, with that said, everyone, let's go ahead and get this basic introduction started by going up here and exploring the navigation menu. Now, there are a lot of options here, so I want to go through this fairly quickly, a bit more so than some of the other tutorials or rather basic introduction videos that I've done before. So, let's go ahead and get this started off with the file menu, or rather the file option, the navigation menu here. So, file menu, pretty standard here. We just have the new option here. We have a new from template, which is something we haven't really seen before, and I'll get into that in a little bit here, but we also have an open, a save as, a save new version, an import, and an export, as well as a recent project section. And really quickly, I'm using the free version of this program. There actually is a professional version of this program, but as I mentioned before, I'm not a professional, so there's no really need to purchase that. It is quite spendy, but for the most part, you can do the majority of what you want to do in this free version. The only downfall is you cannot save the actual file itself. So let's say you made a simple little song, like let's say you made something like this. Obviously, that sounds terrible, and I will show you guys basically what all this is in a little bit here, but let's say I just made something like this and I wanted to save it, so I come back and just kind of maybe I say, let's say I want to delete this right here, maybe delete some of these down here. I can't do that, sadly, so it's kind of like whenever you start a project, you either have to kind of carry through it at one time, or just kind of leave your computer on and come back to it. So that is the only downfall that I've really experienced with the free version of this program, and thus, excuse me, because of that, basically these recent projects here are always going to stay the same because you never will be able to save any actual files, any FLP files, which is Fruity Loop projects, I believe. So they're all going to stay the same for the most part. If you guys are wondering why, why the heck are they always the same songs? And that's why. So anyway, we also have an exit menu, which is pretty self-explanatory, so I'm not really going to bother going over that. Excuse me, now the new from template, all you guys should pretty much understand what these do, except for the import and export, I guess, is for those of you guys who don't really understand how this works, or are kind of curious as how this works, excuse me. There's something in my throat that's been really bothering me lately. I don't know what it is. Anyway, it is allergy season for me, so it's probably something to do with that. But nonetheless, the import section here basically works like this. You can import a MIDI file or a beat to slice. And that basically means you can import kind of like a little music track or whatever the heck you want, and you can kind of slice it up and use it in your projects here. Now, the export basically works like this. When you're done with a song, instead of going to save or save as like some of you normally would or normally would think, you would actually want to go over here to export and say like export to a WAV file or whatever, and just automatically go ahead and go to your Fruity Loops project file, and you go ahead and name it something like, I don't know, let's name it test, and let's see, we get this rendering to test.wav, or WAV, excuse me. I'm working a little bit too much with Windows Movie Maker lately, if you couldn't tell. But you could also, a nice thing about this is you don't just have to import, or rather export, to just a WAV. Even though we chose to export just a WAV file, we can also import to things like MP3, OGG, as well as a MIDI file, simply by just highlighting these little boxes here, clicking on these little boxes, which is really nice, and I think it's really user-friendly in that respect. Now, this whole box here, we're going to get into a little later, so we're going to just close this now, but that's pretty much how the exporting works works in that respect. Now, the project bones and project data files, I'm not exactly sure what those do because, again, I'm not a professional. I haven't really gotten to a whole bunch of stuff in the program, at least in that respect, so I'm not really sure what those do. You're going to kind of have to experiment with those on your own. So, nonetheless, let's go ahead and digress here, rather progress to the edit menu. As you can see, we have some undo, some cut, copy, paste, pretty simple stuff. Shift left, shift right, randomize, set to piano roll. Now, the only thing I've really ever messed with here is the send to piano roll, which is nice, really. Excuse me. Excuse me there. Whew. That was really weird. But nonetheless, one thing I really want to point out that is really nice on this little menu here is you'll notice that next to each one of these options there is a little kind of shortcut that shows you what the keyboard command would be instead of actually going up here and clicking on these individual options. So as I was saying though, this set to piano roll, which is really nice, I might add, but the set to piano roll, if you just go and click that, it's basically, it brings up this piano roll, and for those of you guys who don't really know what piano rolls are, which most likely chances are you don't, just go ahead and right click on one of these little things in the pattern signature here, which is what this little box is called, and you can simply go to piano roll and bring it right up. So that's kind of just I guess another way of doing it, just for you guys who are kind of curious on that. And I mean, my experience, that's pretty much all I found that's useful for. So that is pretty much the edit menu. Pretty basic, but at the same time, pretty nice. Let's go and head over here to the channels. Now, actually, before I do this, let me go ahead and really explain something before I forget about it. This new from template, basically what this does is you can choose from one of these little options here. And no, I haven't really gotten to a whole bunch of these before, but from what I understand, they kind of set you up with some basic templates. And again, you guys can kind of mess with these on your own, but I guess they kind of just like set you up with a basic layout here that will get you started on one of these specified templates here. So I mean, we have club basic, delay and reverb, and it kind of says what it is underneath. So you guys can go ahead and experiment with that. I'm not going to go ahead and do that right now because again, this is a basic introduction and I'm not too familiar with this, so I want to kind of stick to some more familiar stuff and things like that. So let's go ahead and go back here to the channels. Now the channels, it's basically, to say the least, a huge library of just sounds after sounds after sounds. There's a lot to explore here, most definitely. So I'm just going to kind of go over in a nutshell. Basically what the channels section does is you'll notice here that says add one. Then we have this little kind of drop down menu here, I guess display menu. And what this does is we can choose from one of these, and let's go and choose something like citrus because that's the one I like the most. So we're going to go ahead, now that we have this citrus box here, you guys are probably wondering, wow, there's a lot of stuff to do here. What is this even for? I mean, holy cow, there's definitely a lot to explore here, and you are right. Now, the thing is, pretty much what I do with this here, I don't tend to mess with a whole bunch of these options because these, it might look a little intimidating at first, but trust me, later on, after a lot of just testing, kind of just moving some of these switches around and stuff like that, you guys will eventually kind of get a feel for how this stuff works a little bit. And, you know, the most important thing of this program is just really just playing around with it. I mean, a lot of experimentation is definitely in order. I mean, you can look up a lot of tutorials, but for the most part, a lot of experimenting is just really one of those things that FL Studio tries to push forward, I think. And, you know, one of those things that will really help you out a lot. So, just kind of experiment with all this stuff, but I will tell you really quick just kind of how to use these. If you go right here next to the name, you'll see this little drop-down arrow. Go ahead and click that, and you'll notice it says piano roll. There's that piano roll again, and we want to go down to presents though. So you'll notice that when we get to presents, we get this giant box of all these sounds, and I mean, it's just it's mind-blowing. It's amazing. It's really nifty. And let's go ahead and choose something like let's go and choose something like, where is it? I'm looking for it here. There we go. All right, let's go to Dark Heaven. There we go. Hopefully you guys can hear that. And that, my friends, is the citrus channel, and these are basically, there's a whole variety of sounds, and to test out each one of these sounds, each different things, obviously as you guys can see, I just have clicked on this little piano down here to get some different tones in here, and that sounds utterly fantastic. So you can, again, just kind of click this drop down arrow, go to presets, and you have all these different sounds to kind of play with, and each one of these different channels here, also after you click the preset that you want to choose for the channel, you'll notice it also goes down here, and you can kind of go piano roll, just kind of do a whole bunch of different stuff here, and I'll teach you guys how to kind of do that in a little bit, but for now, that's kind of what it does, and all of these different channels are a bit similar to that one, in that they just kind of have all those different presets, and it's just like a whole library of kind of enhancers other than some of these other things over here. But anyway, you guys can go ahead and again kind of experiment with all those different kind of stuff in channels, and obviously if I were to do that, that would make this video way too long, so I'll go and leave it up to you guys. And some of this other stuff I think you guys can experiment with around as well. I will tell you that these little options here could just kind of organize and help kind of again, I guess organize, to say that word again, all of these different presets here and all these different things. And to get to those, like let's say we want to go ahead and select, or actually create a group, let's just name it group 1. Alright, and we put this little dark heaven thing in our group 1. If we want to go see back all of our little tones here, we can just click this little drop down menu, hit all, and there we go. So really, it's just mainly for organization, a lot of this stuff down here. And you can, of course, zip and unzip, and I'll let you guys kind of get into a lot of that stuff. But for the most part, that is what these other options do. They just basically organize all these different things to kind of better assist you create your music. Alright, so the View tab, there is definitely a lot to see here, but I'm just going to go over some really quick things here, just kind of give you guys an idea of what this does. Piano roll, if you go ahead and click this, again, it will bring up the piano roll and make it visible, and if you obviously click that little arrow or that little X, it will just get rid of it, and that's pretty much what all these things up here do. They kind of make it things visible and invisible and stuff like that, as to kind of what you can see and everything like that, so it's really more of that kind of personal preference thing, like what do you want to be able to see on your layout here. So you can just go ahead and go to the View tab and do that as well if you feel like doing that. Alright, so the layout, again, kind of like the layout stuff, it's your own personal preference. One thing I really want to mention, though, is if you go to the background here, it will give you this little kind of, this little side panel menu here, and if you go to Set Bitmap Wallpaper, you'll notice that if I kind of move this out of the way here, hit an X on that, I have this little anime girl right here on my layout, and I am a fan for anime, for those of you guys who didn't know, which is why I have her just kind of sitting right there, kind of brightens up this layout for me. So if you go ahead and go back to the view here, and go to background, you go to Set Bitmap Wallpaper, or Bitmap Wallpaper, excuse me, FL Studio actually has a wide range of kind of different bitmaps that you can choose from to become your background. So if we click this like little robot guy here, you'll notice that we now have this giant little FL Studio robot guy just kind of on our layout there, just kind of like, hello, my name is FL Studio Robot Guy, how are you doing today? Okay, that accent got a little offhand, but nonetheless, that's pretty much how that works. I'm going to go ahead and set back, or that back to my little FL Studio anime girl there, or FL Chan as she is called, there we go. Alright, so that's pretty much what you guys can do there. I just thought that'd be kind of a cool little thing to explain. Now the browser, again, I haven't really gotten to that stuff too much, so, I mean, the undo history, I believe, is pretty self-explanatory. It does just what it says, but you guys can kind of mess around with that as you like. I'm going to go ahead and digress, or rather progress, I don't know why I keep saying that, to the options menu here. I'm going to try to speed this up a little bit. So, options are pretty much just your basic general settings here. Let's go and click on MIDI settings. Now, a cool thing about this is just like the what was it? The kind of like the wave exporting feature, or once you hit whatever exporting feature you wanted to kind of export for the format, you could click more than one. It kind of applies here to the settings. So we clicked on MIDI settings. However, in our MIDI settings, we also have our audio settings, our general settings, our file settings, and our debug stuff. And pretty much, if you go down back to the options, you'll notice that all of that stuff was right in here as well. So you could just click one of these to automatically get to all of them. So that's really nice. And I'm not really going to explain too much what's in here because I don't really mess with these too much, but I don't really believe you need to. I mean, unless you really, really want to get deep into the program, kind of modify it to your will, which normally everything that's pretty much default is going to be fine. Obviously, you're going to kind of move some of the settings on the other essential things like the channels and stuff, but for the most part, the actual program settings like this aren't really going to need to be changed, so that's not really a big bother. We also have some other stuff in here which you guys can kind of get into on your own. It just has a lot of stuff to do with, obviously, here's some MIDI settings, there's some extra project settings, some switches. I don't really know what switches do, actually, but I believe, again, they have something to do with the actual program, so you don't really need to mess with these too much, and I don't really think you will, even if you do get really good with this program. They just are there for, if you find yourself in a jiffy and you kind of need to bend the program to your will, so to speak. So anyway, let's go and progress through the tools here. Now, the tools, I'm just going to go ahead and hands down skip the tools because I don't really get into them all that much. Actually, I've never really gotten into them. I never really found the need. So a bit like the options here, just kind of want to leave them alone for now. Now, the help is, again, really what it sounds. We have just some simple contents here. Just brings up the FL Studio 9 manual. Alright, and pretty much all this stuff I believe applies to later versions of FL Studio as well, kind of all this different stuff where it all is and stuff. So don't really worry about the placement and everything for that. Internet links, haven't really gotten too much into that, but I believe it's just different tutorials and stuff for that. So you guys can kind of explore that if you wish. The About page is pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so that is the navigation menu. Wow, that is gigantic. But rest assured, the rest is kind of smooth sailing from here. Now I'm just going to teach you guys how to make some simple beats and stuff and actually make music in FL Studio. And then I think we're going to go and call it a video because it's going on quite a long time. I might have to split it up into two parts, but hopefully that isn't the case. Let's go ahead and go as fast as we can, but as explanative as we can as well, so you guys make sure and get this before time gets a little too deep. So let's go ahead and head over here to the left side of the program. Now, these over here are basically called what are they called? Packs. And I believe that's actually the only name that they're really called by. I guess you call them music packs or whatnot, but I just prefer to call them packs. And basically what packs are is individual sounds, as you guys can see when I go and click this. Okay, so that sounded really weird. I'm just trying to get into a nice little beat there. But I guess when you're clicking random strings from an acoustic guitar pack, that really is almost impossible. So, nonetheless, guys, packs are just what they sound, as I just shown you guys. They are various sounds that you can use in your little songs and your little themes and whatever you're making at the time. And as you guys can see, I have some open by default, just because these are the ones that I like to use most often. So I never really bother closing them, just so it's kind of easy to find them whenever I open up the program again. We have some piano sounds here. And by default, FL Studio will automatically have a whole bunch of packs here to use. And all you need to do to find them is just go ahead and go over here. And normally it will look like this. What you want to do is just go ahead and hit packs. And there you go. We'll bring up all these different things. And to just open up a pack, you go ahead and find, let's say I wanted something from cymbals. So to open up cymbals, or actually let's go to dance. So let's say you want something from dance. So we just go and click on dance. And we automatically get all these different dance claps and these different club kicks and all these different things that we could use in our little songs. Alright, and there we go. And to go ahead and close that pack, you can just go and close it. And by default, whenever you open up FL Studio, all the packs that you've opened will automatically stay open. So that can be nifty, but at the same time, I guess to some, not as nifty. But I believe there is a setting to kind of change that, but I don't know how to do that. So you're going to kind of have to do a little research on yourself. But hey, whoever said that wouldn't be involved in this whole little learning the program thing anyway. So that is basically packs. Those are all your different stuff, and kind of how to play the packs. You just simply click on them, and how to use them. Alright, so this is where things get not too tricky, but they can get a little weird for those of you guys who have never used basically a music program before. So right here, this is called your pattern sequencer, okay? So your pattern sequencer is where you're going to drag all your packs, all the sounds that you want, rather, in your packs that you want in your song to be. So let's say we wanted a guitar, this acoustic guitar 1B2. So we go and click on that once, and we want to click and drag it right here inside of your pattern 1. Just release. And now we have this acoustic guitar pack, little sound here, inside of our pattern 1. Now, there's two things we could do here. We could either use these little pattern things right here, just kind of click everywhere, and go up here to our play and stop button, hit play. Alright, and hit stop. Now, that doesn't really give us a whole lot of selection. However, if we right-click and go to our favorite little piano roll section, you'll notice that we have a whole bunch of different things we could do, a whole bunch of different notes and stuff we can get from these. And all we need to do to make a little song is say I want it to play this little song right here. This little C4. Sorry, guys, my music terminology isn't as good as it used to be. We're going to go ahead and just click one of these right here. And we can either extend it by right-clicking. If we go to the very edge, we get this double-headed arrow. We can click and drag to kind of extend this and make it longer or shorter for the same matter. And we just go ahead and put all these wherever we wish. Kind of shorten these up as well. And just go and hit play. And I really don't like the sound of that. So I'm going to go ahead and now just kind of click and drag where I want this to be. Alright, I'm going to click on here to kind of basically get this one over here, that kind of copy that. And because if you basically click on one of these here, you'll automatically get that same little shape there to kind of put around. So that's kind of nifty. Let's go ahead and play. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and right click to get rid of that. Click on this one, and there we go. There we go. Alright, so we got a nice little beat going on there. When we exit out, you'll notice that we have this nice little bar here that shows what we have so far. So, basically, there's two ways that we can export, because now we have a little song. We kind of have a little beat going. There we go. So, we can basically export it now, or what we can do is we can go ahead, and you'll notice right here where it says pattern 1, if we click down here to pattern 2, this is our little playlist right here as well. All of these things here, our little acoustic thing is no longer there. So if we go to pattern 1, our piano roll for our acoustic guitar is there again. So what you can do here is there's all these different patterns to explore. And you can go ahead and make different patterns and put them in different areas. So just like we did the piano roll, you can just click once, and there we go. We automatically create a pattern if we go to pattern 2 and go to, let's say, piano roll on Dark Heaven. Let's go ahead and do this one, kind of extend it out a little bit. There we go. Alright, and let's click right below it. And then let's say right here as well. And we hit play. You'll notice nothing happens. The only thing that's playing right now is our pattern 2. Now, to get our whole thing down here in our pattern sequencer to play, we're just going to go ahead and hit song right below this thing that says pattern next to the play button. It has a little green light, and we hit play. And you'll notice right down here it starts playing. Alright, guys, and that is the very basics, the very bare bone basics on creating music in FL Studio. And that is pretty much all you guys need to do. I mean, obviously, there is a bit more to this program than that. Quite a bit more from what you guys have seen. But for the very basics, to get you guys started, that is the majority of what you guys want to do. Now, there's one more thing before I go and end this off here. It's getting very exciting, I must say. We're going to go ahead and go to File, and go to Export, and go to Wave. Alright, and we're going to go ahead and let's go to the, actually, let's just stay in our projects here. Actually, no, let's go on our desktop. Alright, we're going to go and name this Test Song. Alright, and I'm just going to go ahead and choose MP3 as well. And none of this stuff you really need to mess with for now. Leave remainder, though. This is one thing I really want to mention. Leave remainder, cut remainder, and wrap remainder. These basically do different effects. So the leave remainder will automatically just kind of leave the song, let it play out. But the cut remainder, as soon as the note's done finishing, it will just kind of cut it right there and finish the song. So you guys kind of experiment around with that a little bit as well. I'm just going to go ahead and hit leave remainder right now. Hit start. Alright, there we go. Went really fast. And I'm going to go ahead and go to this little thing here. Go to desktop. And let's see. Type in test song. Alright, and double click. Alright, and there we go, guys. That is our little song we've just created. And this, guys, concludes this basic introduction to FL Studio, otherwise known as Fruity Loop Studio. And I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I hope this didn't take too long. I hope I really don't have to cut it in parts. But nonetheless, guys, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys really enjoyed this program. It's a lot of fun, and I wish you guys the best of luck in it. If you guys do want to kind of pursue a little bit more in this, kind of learn a little bit more, and this has been Rexfurry, and feel free to comment right in this video, as well as maybe subscribe to my channel for upcoming updates and future videos and such like this one, and many others, and stuff like that. And I'm sorry, I'm getting a little tired here. My throat's getting a little sore as well. And until next time, guys, this has been Rexfurry again, and I will see you all next video.